Hi, and welcome to the Investing News Network. I'm Vivien Diniz. Speaking with me today is founder of Rare Investment, Colin Ferguson. Colin, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Vivien.
Colin, just to start off, can you tell our audience a little bit about what Rare Investment does?
Gee, what a nice open-ended question. I guess the thing that we do, or we've specialized in, and we're really the world leader in right now, is facilitating investment in natural fancy colored diamonds and other rare gems as hard asset investments. You know, one of the things a lot of people don't realize today is the fastest growing hard asset class in the world is natural fancy colored diamonds.
So I guess you would know a lot about diamonds.
I do. I have quite an extensive background in it that spans decades. I hate to kind of admit it.
Well, that's good. So maybe you can answer my next question.
Sure.
What makes diamonds a good investment?
You know, I think the broad term diamonds isn't as specific as I'd like to be for the interview,
Okay.
Vivien. Let's talk about natural fancy colored diamonds, which of all the diamonds that come out of the ground all over the world is about 1 in every 10,000, according to the Gemological Institute of America. And what makes them a good investment is what's going on in the world today. It's all based, I guess, the key word is on rarity. You know, what people aren't aware of is these big diamond mines that have been, you know, mining and supplying diamonds for decades and decades and decades are actually becoming mined out. They're maturing and they're closing. You know, in 2020, the largest producing diamond mine in the world, the Argyle mine in Perth, Australia, will close its doors for good. So what makes it such a compelling story as an investment in a champagne diamond or a pink diamond is the fact that this mine, for example, with pink, produces 90% in the world, and the supply is going to be gone.
So do mines typically have colored diamonds as a, I guess, a little bit of extra on the side, or is it really just associated with specific locations where you can get a colored diamond from the mine?
Really good question, Vivien. And the answer to it is really, other than the Argyle mine, which closes in 2020, no other mine has a constant supply of these. They appear very random. Like I say, I mean, really what makes them such a compelling investment is what's referred to as an economy of rarity, where you have this high demand, low supply that ultimately leads to high demand and no supply. And in that sort of economic or based on the laws of supply and demand and economics, prices skyrocket. And this is what we're seeing. You know, if you look at Sotheby's and Christie's and Bonhams, these auction houses, they've been really setting records on the backs for their investors, on the backs of natural fancy colored diamonds for 15 or 20 years, very quietly.
So how do colored diamonds compare in price in that case to, I guess, a white diamond, which is the standard for the price we know?
Right. Well, you take, for example, way back in 1989 when, you know, I was actually one of the first people in the world to begin working with the Argyle mine and pink diamonds because I thought they were pretty. They were actually below the value of white in those days. Today, we have stones in our offices here at the World Trade Center in Vancouver that are worth 100 times that. And historically, all natural fancy colored diamonds began below the value of white. Because of the nature of white diamonds and their consistency and grading, we can go back and literally look at values and how they've grown and how they've jumped. So today, you know, as an organization, we work with our investors with the stones that have the greatest potential for appreciation. And those are clearly today the stones that, again, the majority come out of this one mine that's closing, the Argyle mine, and it's the champagnes and cognacs and chocolate diamonds that you hear about. I mean, just Google chocolate diamonds, and it's extraordinary what's going on.
So because diamonds are valued individually, how does one value a colored diamond? Is it still based on the 4 C's, clarity, cut, and color?
You're asking very good questions. That's an excellent one. The 4 C's of cut, color, clarity, and carat were developed in 1939 by De Beers as a guide for white diamonds. And in fact, no, it's although parts of it are relevant for natural fancy colored diamonds, what we look for in natural fancy colored diamonds is more the saturation of color, the hue, and the tone of the color. These gems are referred to as the Rembrandts of the gem world. And accordingly, that it's more the beauty, the inherent beauty of the stone. You know, whenever I talk about this with people, you know, people always think, you know, it's a nebulous thing, when really it's not nebulous at all. Beauty's something that everybody knows it when they see it.
It's definitely in the eye of the beholder, though.
Absolutely.
So I've also heard that diamonds, some people don't like investing in diamonds because they're really hard to resell. Is there any truth behind this, or?
I think that's becoming a bit of a misnomer more and more and more every single day. You know, these days, it's not like, you know, in the 80s, for example, when white diamonds, and as an organization, we have never recommended white diamonds for investment. But in the 80s, you know, there were companies out there saying they were a good investment. They were not. Today, we have organizations like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Financial Times, who are coming out and literally getting on the bandwagon with us and saying, yes, these are good investments. In fact, as recently as Friday, Forbes magazine came out with the CEO of Stornoway and did an article talking about how these are becoming the coveted investment, how the economics of it are so simple, the supply-demand scale, that people are going to make money. In terms of liquidation, this is just one more aspect of it that's grown tremendously. And you don't have to look any further than Sotheby's, Christie's, to see that investors are making big dollars on these.
So is there same type of fundamentals, the buy low, sell high, that plays in with diamonds, or is there a specific time that you would sell?
It's really, we make recommendations to our investors on when they should look to maximize return, and clearly the closure of mines, and that combined with the growing demand in Asia, you know, India and China. You take a country like China, 32% growth. Year in, year out, to the tune of $9 billion this year. And this is really the economics of it, is supply is dwindling while demand from these giant populations with robust economies is eating diamonds like a Pac-Man with teeth.
Well, you were talking about that Argyle mine and the brown diamonds, and I know in March when we spoke earlier, you talked about brown diamonds as, I guess, one of the last colored investments that people should be looking at. Now, recently, the Natural Colored Diamond Association released a statement about a press release about an October seminar on brown diamonds. What's the potential with these brown diamonds?
It's huge. And it was funny because I was sitting in my office in Vancouver, and I'm actually one of the founding members of the NCDIA, the Natural Fancy Colored Diamond Association, as Carrots Investments. And it's interesting because for me, hell hath frozen over in the diamond industry. I've been talking to investors for years about investing in these and the potential. And, you know, we took some hard knocks. There's articles written where, you know, the rocks were in my head. Today, it is the fastest growing aspect or part of the diamond investment business as a natural fancy colored diamond. And to be clear, what the NCDIA is doing is literally teaching the jewelry industry how to sell these. It's a symposium on brown diamonds. So the cognacs and the chocolates and the champagnes, it's a tremendous step forward in terms of the marketing. And what this means for the investor is demand grows. And as demand grows, prices go up.
Well, that's good, and I don't think they have to go very far to convince people. Just look at the red carpet, Oxgranite, and everybody's got a brown diamond.
Absolutely. It's just extraordinary to see. It's exciting.
So for an investor looking to get into colored diamonds, what's the best route? How would they go about doing that?
I think, you know, education is a big part of it, and certainly visiting the Rare Investment website and starting to get educated is important, and also talking to us directly. We're a very open company. We certainly subscribe to our newsletters, visit our website, talk to us directly. You know, our president, Kim Hellman, has been with us for 15 years and literally started as a receptionist. And, you know, it's interesting. She's the president of this rather large organization these days, and she's still often the first person to answer the phone if you want to learn about these and how to invest. Brian Carrison, this is a veteran of De Beers for 20 years, you know, a leading expert in the world. If you want his advice on how to invest, contact us.
Well, it sounds like that's a good way to go. Well, thank you very much, Colin, for joining me today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. It was Colin Ferguson, founder of Rare Investment. I'm Vivien Diniz for the Investing News Network. Thank you for joining.